My name is Gary Painter, and I'm the director of the USC Sol Price Center for Social Innovation. I've been a professor in the Sol Price School of Public Policy for over the last 20 years. At the Price Center, our mission is to develop ideas and illuminate strategies to improve the quality of life for people living in low-income urban communities. And we fulfill this mission through research, student learning, community engagement, and annual convenings like this year's conference. Forward LA, Race, Arts, and Inclusive Placemaking after the 1992 Civil Unrest is an example of the kinds of convenings that we like to have within the community to enable dialogue and also present research that can help push forward the agendas and make LA and all urban communities a more inclusive and just place. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to our event this morning, which is held in collaboration with our friends, and you see some of their banners here today, the USC Spatial Analysis Lab, the USC Program for Environmental and Regional Equity, and the USC RAP, which is the Race, Arts, and Placemaking Faculty Collaborate. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Dean of the Price School, Jack Knott. He's the C. Irwin and Ione L. Piper Chair and Professor in the School of Public Policy, and he's led the school in this role since 2005. Under Dean Knott's leadership, the Price School has experienced significant growth. It's strengthened its position as a leader in public affairs research and education. In addition to several major gifts, he was instrumental in securing the school's $50 million endowment and naming gift from Price Philanthropies in 2011, which established also the USC Price Center for Social Innovation. Dean Knott has also shepherded the Price School's steady ascent in the U.S. News and World Report rankings, moving up from number 7 in 2008 to number 6 in 2012, and now number 4 among public affairs schools nationwide. Dean Knott is a leading scholar in the fields of political institutions and public policy. He's also been past president of NASPA, which is the International Association of Schools of Public Affairs. Please join me in welcoming Dean Knott to the stage.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all here, and thank you very much, Gary, for that introduction. It's my great pleasure to join all of you today. This conference comes at a really critical time, and I look forward to learning from the experts and community members here that we've brought together. I also appreciate the convergence across various disciplines and the collaboration with USC Dornsife, RAP, the Race, Arts, and Placemaking initiatives, and our research centers. This type of interdisciplinary partnership reflects the collaboration that's really required from stakeholders to scholars for solving the enduring urban social problems we face today. In the 25 years since the LA civil unrest, a pivotal moment in our history, we've made progress, but it's become painfully clear that we still have a long, long way to go. Even today, we still face some of the same issues and talk about many of the same causes and effects that fueled the unrest a quarter century ago. Disparities in housing and healthcare, lack of economic and educational opportunities, violence and crime, distrust and antagonism between the community and law enforcement. Bringing the university together with the community to address these issues fits very well with USC Provost Michael Quick's argument that universities today, including USC, have the moral imperative to use their expertise and knowledge to help solve society's wicked problems. Those enduring problems that are very difficult to solve because of highly complex and contradictory interdependencies among them. The theme of the conference on race, arts, and placemaking also is central to one of Provost Michael Quick's initiatives that focuses on the arts and social change. Last night, the USC Bedrosian Center on Governance held a Policy in the Playhouse event at the Pasadena Playhouse, and it focused on the play The Originalist, which is a story about Judge Antonin Scalia and a black, gay, female law clerk who worked for him. It dramatically addresses the cultural and political polarization in the country on issues of race, gay rights, abortion, equality, and access. It is a powerful use of drama and music from classical to jazz to address these issues, and a great example of how art intersects with social change. The Price School also has a strong emphasis on placemaking as it affects community and social development. The school combines the fields of urban planning and real estate development with public policy and governance and public and nonprofit management. And the mission of the Price School is to improve the quality of life for people and their communities here and abroad. Over the past 88 years, we have achieved this mission through education and research that addresses not only the pressing social policy issues facing society, but also through planning and developing more sustainable and livable communities for the future. The Price School has a strong commitment to promoting trust, open dialogue, and collaboration between communities and the institutions that serve them. Our Safe Communities Institute, for example, is dedicated to advancing collaborative whole community public safety strategies, policies, and research. We are partnering with the USC Suzanne Dvorak Peck School of Social Work and the LAPD on training law enforcement in working with vulnerable populations, including the homeless and the mentally ill, so that law enforcement both understands and interacts with individuals, families, and communities in a peaceful and constructive way. A main contributor to the Price School, the Price School's impact at USC and in society, and including the impact of the Price Center for Social Innovation, which bridges research and practice and leads data and knowledge development and change efforts in low-income communities, as Gary mentioned, really comes from and is inspired by our benefactor, Saul Price. He was a visionary entrepreneur who established Price Club, which later became Costco. But he was also a man of great moral character and great integrity, who was committed to finding ways to make life better for those less fortunate than him. He became active nationally in social policy through the Urban Institute and the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, and was instrumental in the federal government passing the Earned Income Tax Credit. His main focus was on taking on innovative, comprehensive approaches to revitalizing a low-income urban neighborhood of City Heights in San Diego. He formed a partnership with the city and the school district. He created a nonprofit now known as Price Charities. It builds low-income housing, social services, offices and agencies, health clinics, parks and recreation facilities, and his son Robert continues with all these activities today. The Price School is also itself very proud of Sol Price's legacy in its commitment to diversity, inclusion, access, and equity. We try to practice, in other words, what we research and what we preach. We have a long-standing commitment to diversity and inclusion, and we believe it is vital in focusing on not only our faculty and staff being culturally competent, but also training our students to be that way in the various professions that they enter. So we have invested in a number of programs, including the Diversity in Healthcare Leadership Initiative, the Diversity in Planning Program, the Ross Minority Program in Real Estate, our executive education programs for public officials from California, Latino Caucus, among many other efforts. So in closing, while we at the Price School work today to improve communities and conditions we also keep an eye towards the future, inspiring and educating the next generation of leaders, problem solvers, and change makers who can help us get from where we are today to where we need to be. And one good example of that occurred yesterday. The Price School hosted 40 students from a South Central Los Angeles high school at USC, And this high school has an academic emphasis on urban planning and placemaking. The high school is one of two schools that we have as a special relationship with. The students came to USC. It was quite cute. They all wore ties and dressed up. They thought this was an important occasion, and it was. And we had our board there and other faculty and staff to meet with them. They had built intricate physical models of how to improve streets and neighborhoods where they live. And they were beautifully done. And they showed sidewalks with trees and bike lanes, and they built parks, etc. And it gave them an early insight into the role of creativity and placemaking in social change and in improving the communities in which they live. So I'm very excited about this conference and the people it brings together, the issues it's addressing, and I look forward to the discussions and dialogues that we will have today and tomorrow. And I look forward to the informative, insightful conversations that the conference will produce. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Before we jump into the content of the conference, I want to take a moment to encourage everyone to visit the oral history booth that's in the lobby. I don't think you could have missed it when you came in, but you may not have known what it was. The idea behind this booth is that it's the opportunity to really share your stories and memories from the 1992 civil unrest, what you have seen, what you hope for the future in Los Angeles. And I should say that there are some students in this room who were not born yet in 1992. We want to also encourage you to participate in this archive as well, because you've been shaped by the events of the past. And so feel free to share your hopes for the future. This oral history was actually going to be archived in the USC libraries so that you would be able to access this over time. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be a terrific project that will archive kind of this moment in time. I also want to encourage our guests, both in the room and also those who are in the live stream, to engage us with social media throughout the conference. The Twitter handle for the conference and co-organizers are right here they were on the screen above. The important part is hashtag LA25, right? So whenever you tweet something out, just say hashtag LA25 and that'll be part of the conversation. Questions will be taken both from the live audience here today at the end of every panel and also through the Twitterverse. Some people try to game the system and put their question through the Twitterverse and are also in the room to increase your odds of getting your question answered. We certainly encourage any kind of approach to get your question out there as possible. So today, of course, takes stock of the 25th anniversary of the Uprising, a seminal moment for Los Angeles that did ignite a national conversation about race, equity, and justice within our communities. The actual date, of course, is in 2 days, but this event is a great time to really commemorate and take stock of what that meant for our city and our region and really our nation as a whole. The civil unrest, of course, was sparked by the acquittal of 3 Los Angeles police officers involved in the beating of Rodney King, but the tensions that led to that moment and those 3 days of violence had been simmering for years. Poverty, unemployment, violence, health disparities, injustice in the criminal justice system, concentrated in low-income urban communities all served as kindling for the fire that erupted in 1992. Even in the years that followed the civil unrest, communities in Los Angeles remained segmented and isolated by racial and ethnic barriers, competing for resources and battling over contested spaces within the city. Now, 25 years after the civil unrest, Los Angeles is moving forward toward a vision for a shared destiny in which Angelinos work together to support programs and policies that benefit the region as a whole rather than specific populations. For example, in the last 2 elections, we voted to tax ourselves to support shared investments in homeless services, housing, and transit. We've also seen an increase in social cohesion and improved cultural relations throughout our communities. Of course, there is still significant work to be done to realize the vision of a just and inclusive future in Los Angeles, but we believe we are in a better place than we were in 1992. There's no singular reason for these changes. This conference will explore some of those reasons. There's been changes, there's been demographic changes, improved race relations, arts and culture played roles, there's been new innovative policy models, the use of tools like community organizing, the provision of local data to empower communities. They clearly have played a role in our evolving landscape of the city. This morning, I will just kind of outline some of the things that we're going to do today. So we're actually going to begin with a demonstration of the Price Center's new Neighborhood Data for Social Change platform, which will be a user-friendly online data resource to allow nonprofit organizations, advocacy groups, and government agencies to access reliable and aggregated neighborhood data. The platform is currently in, I would say, alpha form, almost beta form, and it will be available for launch sometime this summer. I'll talk more about that later. The morning will then continue with a first panel that explores demographic changes in the decades leading up to 1992 and the anticipated demographic evolution of the region over the next 25 years. Our second panel will consider how we're currently measuring opportunity within low-income neighborhoods, considering new metrics to measure opportunity and exposure to risk. And the panel will discuss policies and programs that can be developed to ensure, to use an oft-quoted line, that a child's zip code should not determine their future. We're going to be privileged at lunch to have Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson to provide a keynote address with an introduction by Dr. Manuel Pastor, who's the director of the USC Program for Environmental and Regional Equity, also the director of the Center for the Study of Immigrant Integration, and the Terpangian Chair in Civil Society and Social Change. The university is not immune to multiple titles, so you might hear that throughout the day. Our afternoon panels will continue on our theme of neighborhood empowerment. We'll have a panel on health disparities to discuss various policies and tools and stakeholders can use to reduce health disparities in low-income communities, and also kind of take stock in where we are in the remaining work that needs to be done. On a similar topic, I will be moderating an afternoon panel that explores the concept of data as a driver of community empowerment and social innovation. And we'll discuss how data can be used to facilitate neighborhood change and how community actors can leverage data to achieve collective objectives. We're then going to end the day with a panel composed of community experts discussing the root causes of ongoing struggles in South LA, as well as community coalitions and grassroots efforts that have worked to improve neighborhood conditions over the past 25 years. Then, to close out the evening, we invite you to join us for a reception which is hosted by the USC Dornsife College for Letters, Arts, and Sciences at the Galen Center. More information is going to be available for that at the end of the day. At this point, I would like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Annette Kim, who played an instrumental role in organizing this event and who will lead tomorrow's programs in arts and culture rebuilding in Los Angeles. Dr. Kim is an associate professor in the Price School. She also serves as the director of the Spatial Analysis Lab, we call SLAB. The newly formed, this lab is new and it advances the visualization of social science for public service through teaching, research, and public engagement. Please join me in welcoming Annette Kim.
Thank you so much. I really want to welcome you. We are so glad you are here. We have been preparing for you for a year, and it's finally the day. And what we wanted to do is we knew that what happened in '92 was a huge event, not only for LA or California, but really for the nation. And we really wanted to use this opportunity to learn. And there's a lot of activities happening in LA right now about this. I think our distinctive position is we really wanted to learn and look to the future, and also to reclaim missing narratives. So part of what I'm doing here is, among many titles, is I'm one of the co-directors of RAP, Race, Arts, and Placemaking, a faculty collaborative funded by the USC Provost's Office. We have these shirts, and you'll see students wearing these coming around the conference. And part of what we want to do is the people we gathered in this program was to bring to light narratives that weren't given attention in mainstream media. And the facts and research we've done since then. But we also want to hear your story. So again, I really encourage you to visit our oral history booth. Students will be coaxing you into the booth. It'll only take a few minutes, but your story, your voices can be archived for the future, for future researchers, documentary filmmakers, etc. We want to hear your stories, so please participate. And I wanted to give a view towards tomorrow, this program, and what we've been doing is a class all semester on this theme with students, and they've been going out into the city, finding missing narratives themselves. And the proposition was that arts and culture have been key to rebuilding the city the last 25 years. It's been an important medium. And so what we've done for tomorrow, just to give you a view, is we're going to have a panel of amazing artists and arts organizations around the city who have been trying to desegregate the art geography of Los Angeles. We're going to be talking about food justice and campus community relations. We'll have a keynote by Roy Choi and his local staff, crew, the innovative restaurant in Watts. We're going to have amazing filmmakers of color who've been putting out amazing content that is actually connecting to social change. We'll also be talking about Black Lives Matter and the role that visuals and arts have played in creating new narratives. And then we'll have performance by youth who do open mic sessions around Los Angeles to develop their voice. So we welcome you to come back tomorrow. We want to show you a little clip of the kinds of narratives my students have collected, just a 3-minute video to help you imagine what you might be a part of in this oral history booth.
What is LA? Lord have mercy, I have no idea. What is LA? LA is, it's part grit and reality. It's part fantasy and illusion.
LA is energy. I mean, I could say it all kinds of ways, but I think LA is energy, is future-oriented, is open-minded, is possibility.
Los Angeles is coming of age. That's what Los Angeles is. Our downtown is coming of age. Lamert Park is coming of age. Crenshaw is coming of age. They're coming of age in not just new buildings going up, but a plan, recognizing what our history is, recognizing what our culture is. I believe that all eyes are on the West Coast for the 21st century.
LA is segregated. LA is becoming very, very, very segregated, more segregated. I used to take pride in saying that we were a little bit more integrated. And I would go to other cities in the US and realize, like, damn, but nah, it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not integrated. It's not inclusive. We got a long way to go.
LA ain't just palm trees and tacos, baby. I'm like, we got some other stuff going on there, and yeah. So I love here. I love LA. I love my neighborhood spots. Yeah.
LA is home. I think LA is also a place to learn. LA is everything to me.
I think LA is exciting. I think it's an exciting city. It has a lot to offer, a lot of places to go and a lot of things to do, which is more than a lot of cities have to offer.
LA는 천국이다. 서로 각 나라에서 오신 분들이 다 공유하고 살 수 있으면서 난 이런 천국이 없다고 생각합니다.
LA is a melting pot. You can have friends from a different background. You can all sit down and have a drink on a Friday night and really enjoy each other's company. Like, my boyfriend is Mexican American and I'm Black, and we can love each other, and our cultures and our colors aren't a big deal. We acknowledge each other, and we acknowledge each other's past, present, and futures. We acknowledge our heritage, and it's just made us into much stronger people. And that's what LA is. LA is a melting pot. It's amazing.
So that's to give you a little taste. Yeah, thank you. Let's really applaud my students who collected that, as well as Scott Mahoy, who We put that together last night. But to encourage you, we're just going to ask 4 simple questions. What did you remember from 92? How has LA changed in the last 25 years? How has it not changed? And how would you complete that sentence, LA is? And we encourage a multiplicity of perspectives. We won't all agree, but we can respect each other and listen to each other. So thank you very much.